And Bobby, can we go back to Marcus Rashford? This was a moment for him to take another step, right? And we talked about, okay, he doesn't start against Crystal Palace, and it's a 0-0 draw. You know why? Because he's not in a rhythm. This is a player that needs to be in a rhythm. He's been a whole season, he hasn't performed. So much so that he got out of the England team, which you thought for sure he'd be in it. For me, this falls not only on the players, because we have to hold the players accountable.
Well, you're saying he should have started in the last game as well to keep his form going.
For Rashford, for Manchester United, they're going to have an opportunity on Sunday for a palate cleanser against Spurs, right? To change the taste with these fans that are obviously not happy. The reality of the situation is that with the new format, this dropped points at home isn't as detrimental as it would have been in the group stage.
Great. But
you have a larger room for error. It's a larger margin of error. As I agree with everything you guys said, by the way, that it's bad. It's not to the United standard. But it's permissive, this new format.
You think that makes it okay?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
But United can get back on the horse, is what I'm saying. But now they're going to start picking up wins. They go to Porto next. I mean, first off, Spurs at home. That's got to be a must-win for fans, because then you keep that really sour taste from this drop points but going into the game at Porto next week.
What's going to be the fallout from this, though? Because last season they were disastrous in the Champions League, weren't they? They finished at the bottom of the group and they left things halfway through the group stage. You thought it's going to be tough for them to get out. Now they're in the Europa League. None of us had picked them to win. And you thought this is a real chance for them today. I mean, could this competition be the final straw for Eric Ten Hag, do you think?
I don't think this competition will be the final straw. I think that how he does in the Premier League is probably going to be more so important. But I think what we have to let people understand is this is Manchester United. When you play football, there's different levels of clubs of what their ambitions are. And we have to understand that this is Man United. It's not the Manchester United of old, but there's still a responsibility when you wear that shirt and you're representing this club. This result today, regardless of the long stretch that's ahead, Nico, is not good enough to get a point at home as SC20. So we can't sugarcoat it.
He made a good point about
you can't sugarcoat it, and I agree you can't sugarcoat it. It's not good. But the reality of the situation, if I'm running at Manchester United, I'm running everything at Manchester United, I'm looking at it big picture saying, there's still time.
But does this even fill you with confidence with the game at the weekend?
Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. But the only thing that can fill you with confidence is winning games.
Yes.
And Manchester United has a huge test this weekend against Spurs. And then they go to Porto, and that's when they need to right the ship.
Let me put the big story, the big picture of that. Marcus Rashford, a player that's been under the spotlight, talked about, finally gets his confidence going, scores 3 goals in a week, you drop him against Crystal Palace. You come out and say what you said to the press. He starts today, doesn't perform again today.
Right.
And then now you're going into a big Premier League game against Tottenham, a team that you're going to be keeping in the top 4.
They dialed up the pressure on themselves, and this is what I was talking about. Eric Ten Hag, for sure. Everything, the surrounding context. We talked about it in the pregame. They're always playing catch-up. They don't give themselves a moment to breathe, because you could have beat Twente non-story today, as expected, and then go into that Spurs, have the fans backing you, confident in your performance from midweek, and then maybe get a result. But now there's doubts, and at Old Trafford, you know how it works. You don't get goal in the first half. Ooh, the murmurs around.
Can I just say this? If you look at Manchester United's performance today, can you tell me what their identity is? Can you tell me that they're playing good football? It's one thing to play this match and you win ugly, but you win.
Yeah.
They drew against Twente, and you couldn't look at this match and say, man United, they're really playing well.
But Charlie, in that first half...
There's a style of play. It's not.
Let's take a look at the highlights then, because in the first half, they did have the majority of the chances, didn't they? Obviously, they scored the opening goal through Christian Eriksen, and you thought, OK, well, this should be all 3 points. This should be a win for Manchester United. Here's where the goal came, and I think it was almost a sense of relief when this goal went in for the fans.
It was. Poppy, you said they had a lot of chances. Their highlight was just this, really, in the first half.
Well, they had 5 shots on target at the end of the game.
There weren't really any moments that you said, wow, they were playing. This is coming off a loss of a possession.
Charlie's right. There still is this question about identity, style of play, pattern of play. And again, we go back to the Marcus Rashford situation. One thing you don't do as a manager, if your striker's on form and scoring goals, you do not take him off. You do not rotate a striker that's just finding form regardless. Unless he looks completely tired. And now the modern-day football clubs, they've got all the scientific backing. They've got sports analysts. They've got sports analysts and all that who cover the data, who cover all the data. But when a player's on form, you have to keep him in the team.
Right. What about
Regardless.
Garnacho?
Marcus Rashford is...
Similar conversation to Garnacho. He has 4 goals in the season, but he's opted not to start him in several games now. Similar situation. Like,
So
who are you getting in rhythm?
All these situations will come down to the manager. He's making these decisions, and these decisions are not helping him. So when people like us have these conversations and talk about it, we have the right to say it because you're the one making decisions. And you look at the game, look how aggressive the substitutions he made towards the end. FC 20 were defending for their lives. You want to bring on Mason Mount, you bring on Mainu and Hoyland because you're trying to win the game. You shouldn't be forced.